talk about Mahatma Gandhi's Talim, a particular case study in 21st century. Mahatma Gandhi himself said very little things about his own ideas, but one thing is an exception, that he said that Talim, that is new education or ever new education, is his finest and last gift to the world. Gandhiji said this, and I read about it. I didn't know the significance of it. Later, I personally came across 4 problems, the key challenges of 21st century, especially in India. The first and the foremost, that the youth of India are in search of meaningful career. Career means something which you have passion, for which you have the skills, and the society also needs them. The grand confluence of your passion, your capabilities, and the needs of the society. Youth are in search of meaningful career. Next important thing is the industry is in search of affordable manpower with flexible framework. They want zero attrition because the cost of recruitment and training and retraining is very high. Third, the universities are beset with one single thought, that their degrees should be respected by the society. They should be relevant. That means they should give such degrees in which the knowledge is applicable in the industry. The students are able to advance the boundaries of knowledge. They are able to challenge the existing body of knowledge. They have to think independently and create new world. Solve the real problems of the society. Because inside the academia, there is a greater feeling that all the chronic problems of the planet have been created by the people who have taken higher education. The fourth is that the governments and the community want social harmony. They want their youth to be positively channeled, engaged in creative pursuits. And these are the 4 challenges which were always making me very upset. These 4 challenges appeared to me quite differently at different times. And I started solving that one problem of meaningful careers. And then slowly it emerged that there are 4 problems around it. The world of education and the world of work. I must take them together. Education and work cannot be tackled separately. They have to be thought together. The problems are something like this, which I mentioned in short, that how do you look at the career of the youth, the aspirations of the universities for relevance, the quest of industry for high quality manpower, and that of the society and the governments for social harmony. And there, actually, I came across this concept in 21st century. Till that time, though I had read about Mahatma Gandhi, but I was not knowing his relevance. I said he should have said that his finest and the last gift to the world is Satyagraha. But he was not saying that. Why was he saying like this? Then, one day, in my morning walk, I got this flash that I said that how late am I in understanding the Mahatma. Mahatma Gandhi, while propounding his idea of education in the Phoenix ashram, when he was forced, almost compelled by the circumstances to teach the kids in the ashram, because the rest of all people were arrested, he discovered that a very fundamental law of education, and that is why UNESCO, when it enlisted 100 great educationists who made the difference to the 20th century, Mahatma Gandhi figures in that. along with Tagore and along with J.P. Naik. I said, what was so great? What was Mahatma Gandhi's contribution to education? I was not aware. Then I found that this person has discussed with Tagore as to what should be the medium of instruction. Both of them have debated whether it is English, whether it is mother tongue and Hindi and all that. But at one time, Gandhiji creates a question for himself and solves himself. And that question is, what is the medium of knowledge? Not what is the medium of instruction. And Gandhiji, with his own experiments, always he experimented. Conceptualization, experimentation, experiences and reflection. Gandhiji's life is full of all these four. He came with an idea that the wholesome work is the medium of knowledge. You cannot get knowledge by reading books or by visiting Google or seeing YouTube movies or by listening to the lectures or, meeting someone and getting his discourses. No. The medium of knowledge is wholesome work. I thought that WWW is Wonderland of wholesome work. Okay. Okay. So, Gandhiji says that what is wholesome work? That is, you start from sowing the seeds to reaping the harvest. You go from this end to that end. Don't take the piecemeal approach. When you take piecemeal approach like an industrial worker, there is an alienation from work. But when you are wholesome work, you get connected. You derive joy and knowledge together. They are inseparable. There is a joy of production. Gandhiji says that the medium of work is socially useful and productive work. Okay, every word is important. Socially useful and productive work, not meaningless work. Just not for learning by doing or learning by trying. Okay, there are educational theories, very competing theories. But learning by doing socially useful and productive work. There is a sharp sense of purpose in Gandhiji's idea of education. He says that you have to connect to life. There is a beautiful sentence by Goethe when theory of colors was propounded by Newton. Suddenly all poets were, beset with anxiety that now the whole empire of colors has been taken away by scientists. So they gathered together and they were discussing what will happen to poetry. And they showed anxiety. Finally Goethe said, she stood up and said, don't worry, theory is green, but life is evergreen. That is the flash which has occurred to Gandhiji also. Gandhiji says that education for life, education through life, and education throughout life. That is Gandhiji's mantra. And eventually, as his thoughts evolved, Gandhiji went to conclude that life is education. It is not the medium of education, it is education. And therefore, when I started thinking of these four problems, I said the Mahatma has to offer everything that I need. I must transform into this upward spiral from work, derive knowledge out of work, and apply that knowledge to make the work more profound, more socially useful, more productive, more wholesome. Now, this work, socially useful, productive work, you have to connect. You cannot be an individual. Individual excellence becomes a myth when you start doing socially useful and productive. You have to connect. So the learning doesn't remain individual property, but it becomes also the collective property. And from that you start deriving knowledge. Now, the process of deriving knowledge is also very interesting. And large number of people have worked in this in the last 75 years. Gandhiji propounded this in 1937, formally. He called all the chief ministers to Wardha and said, now the provincial states are with us, even though the central government is British, and let's implement Talim. Dr. Zakir Hussain went in the morning to Gandhiji and said that give me some message. He said, you know everything about Talim, now you just work out the implementation strategy. He said, still Bapu give me some message. Bapu wrote a message. शिक्षा की ऐसी प्रणाली ढूंढ निकालिए जो स्वावलंबी हो और स्वायत्त हो. Self-reliant and autonomous. Autonomous means it should be free of interference from political powers, it should be free of interference from religious powers, it should be free of interference from the commercial or the financial powers, and it should be free from the commercialized knowledge powers. Autonomous. He went, they discussed in the evening. Dr. Zakir Hussain came and said, बापू, हमने तो ये ढूंढ निकाला कि शिक्षा की प्रणाली स्वायत्त कैसे हो, लेकिन हम ये नहीं ढूंढ पाए कि वो स्वावलंबी कैसे हो. This old man smiled and said, शिक्षा की जो प्रणाली स्वावलंबी नहीं है, वो कभी स्वायत्त हो ही नहीं सकती. So we have to now think the solutions within. So we have to now connect to the industry, and this case study that I have created in the last 6 years in collaboration with Yashwantrao Sawant Maharashtra Open University is not for perhaps people like you who are sitting here, is for those students who cannot afford higher education even if it is made completely free. Because it is for those students who work with me who have to be net earners to support their family because the father has committed suicide or whatever. So they cannot just enjoy college life, quote unquote. Their workplace has to be the college. And so we connect to several industry partners. We connect to several industry interfacing partners and also the university. And the message is, the biggest message in Gandhiji's idea is because it was for reconstruction of the nation, which was absolutely torn apart by foreign rurals. So the idea was that, you respect work, the dignity of work. So the students here work in every way in the industry. If you come to my office, you will see that these students are taking the responsibility of everything. Because dignity of labor is very important. Physical work is very important, not just intellectual work. And the most important thing is that when you are deriving knowledge out of work, then that work doesn't remain small. Howsoever humble the work is, if it is done well, it becomes noble. If it is done well means what? If you derive profound knowledge out of that work, then it becomes noble. That is the meaning. So, all these people work together and their responsibilities are like this. The university basically looks after the curriculum design, but this curriculum is connected to the industry, their needs of the world of work. It is not just isolated curriculum, okay? Then the industry partners provide the workplace for the productive and socially useful work. Learning opportunities are given. They are given the opportunities to fail and create something, try out something, and satisfy the customers. Okay? Gandhiji has said very great words about customers, that we exist for him. And another thing is reflective practices. The learning cycle is very interesting in the sense that in Talim, the learning begins with action. It doesn't begin with book. It doesn't begin with syllabus. It begins with an action to serve a customer. From action, you go to reflection. That how did I perform this work? Did I perform it correctly? Did I perform it with adequate involvement? Did I need some improvements? Did I create joy with my colleagues? Was it really socially useful and productive? How do I improve this? What was the style of my learning? What knowledge did I derive out of it? And every day, my senior colleagues take the reflection sessions. And most important thing is reflection. Public reflection is more important in gaining knowledge. In publicly, you reflect that, no, I went wrong. It cleans your heart and it makes you fresh for gain new knowledge. You say something that, I got this, and others appreciate, you feel joy. It is not happiness, it is not pleasure, it is joy. It is something to do with the soul and not just the body and mind. Okay? So, reflection. And from reflection, you draw conclusions. That yes, this is required. This is how I need this kind of improvement. And from conclusions, you go to the pragmatic planning. And from pragmatic planning, you go back to the action. What new action I should do? And this action, reflection, conclusion, then pragmatic planning, and going back to the action, this circle keeps on rotating and it creates a rising spiral. From work to knowledge, and from knowledge to more profound work. This knowledge, what you read in books, is in explicit form. Whereas what you derive in work is in tacit form. Many times, the students are not able to express it in words, and reflection sessions help them to express it in words, transform that tacit into explicit. Because once you start making it explicit, you start theorizing it. So you go from practice to theory, and from theory to more profound practice. And why that practice? It is to serve the society. That is the purpose of the practice. Okay? And then the students get monthly stipend, which a heavier portion of it is sent back to their homes. The industry interfacing partner brings the ties with the industry, and we do the entire research and pedagogy based on Gandhiji's ideas. We also do the program implementation, we do the partnerships with industries, we counsel the students, we look after their well-being, and we also bring about a kind of confidence among them as they go ahead. We also provide the e-learning content, because when they are practicing something, their practicing place and their master craftsmen or their mentors should not be limiting to their learning. They should be more, facilitating. So the e-learning environment widens their horizons, brings new experiences in the virtual space, and enriches them for other sectors of practice, which perhaps their own local place of practice may not offer them. So, act local and think global. That is the idea. So, these are some of the benefits that the industry partners get. They reduce the rate of attrition, because for 3 years of degree program, nobody quits them, because the student is getting degree. On the other hand, he is also getting the stipend. So he doesn't quit, so industry gets a continuous manpower of 3 years. For example, many renowned industries have attrition rates crossing 60% to 120%. So it's a very heavy cost to the industry. Okay. The students get these benefits. They get the kind of enhanced employability. None of our students has ever come back to me and asked for any job. Before my course gets over, they get picked up in very good places of work at very high salaries. These are the sectors which we have covered so far. This is the benefit to the student. Ultimately, a new meaning of word learning I derived out of this experiment. I looked at the word learning and I said it cannot be an original word, because otherwise they would have pronounced it as turning or burning. They would have spelled it as turning or burning. But it has been spelled differently. So I said the learning is a derived word and more fundamental word is earning, as you separate out L from learning. So learning is a process which leads to earning. And that's what perhaps Gandhiji was saying, that you learn in such a way that you earn confidence, you earn self-esteem, you earn self-reliance, you earn autonomy, you earn the status to serve the society, you earn the source of self-actualization. And what do you want more than that from learning? Thank you.